Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to talk about the Leviathan from the Monsterverse, and this is actually a pretty cool creature because Leviathan is a term used for a range of sea monsters, usually in ancient kind of passages and just older texts in general. When that term was used, it referred to a whale or a larger aquatic creature, sometimes even more smaller aquatic creatures that were just kind of feared, like alligators, crocodiles, things like that. And the term was even used in the Bible, which a lot of people refer to in various ways, and Leviathans were also used in the MCU to refer to the flying, kind of large Shatari creatures that were very whale-like to a certain extent in how I guess you would describe them from a general design perspective. But all things considered, the Leviathan's really cool in the Monsterverse, first and foremost because it's located in Loch Ness, Scotland, basically making it the Monsterverse version of the Loch Ness Monster. And this is really cool because we already have a Monsterverse version of the Kraken. Now we're getting a Monsterverse version of the Loch Ness Monster. So all things considered, I mean, this is really cool. I'm really interested in seeing what other kind of huge kind of cryptids, and I say huge cryptids not in their actual scale, but huge cryptids in the sense of popularity, such as Bigfoot, for example. It'd be really cool if we get a Bigfoot titan in the future, since the Kraken showed us that there's a lot of monsters in the Monsterverse located in or around top secret Monarch locations that weren't given away by the Outpost, either on the Monarch Sciences website or even during the actual Godzilla King of the Monsters movie. So all things considered, it's going to be really cool. Now, when talking about the Leviathan in the Monsterverse, I do think it's worth mentioning, a few months ago, actually more of like a year ago at this point of me recording, there was a leak that came out about a bunch of different monsters that were going to be in the Monsterverse, and they touched upon a few of them that actually came true, such as a spider type titan, Methuselah being a titan, one that had Bigfoot like characteristics. Now, before we get into talking about what the titan looks like, there isn't too much concept art. There really isn't any concept art, honestly, besides some fake fan art, and there really isn't much detailed descriptions about the creature. But when I was looking for things that possibly touched upon it, whether it's director or producer or cast kind of interviews, one thing I was reminded of and I went back to was an old leak for the Monsterverse movies, specifically for Godzilla King of the Monsters, that actually touched upon about a year ago, before anywhere else was really talking about it, various titans that may appear in this movie. And it got a few of them right. It got the giant mammoth titan right, a giant spider-like titan right, the actual name for a titan called Methuselah, that was in there as well. So I'm inclined to think that this person may have had some sort of knowledge about certain Monsterverse ongoings, and they do describe actually one as a giant sea serpent titan with large fins and a very similar design to Nessie. And more specifically, actually, they say the Nessie monster from the old Godzilla 1998 cartoon. Now, if you go to that cartoon, Nessie definitely has a very serpent-like design in that cartoon. So all things considered, if this actually was the inspiration, and for whatever reason they never show the concept art as of me recording this, but if this really was the inspiration based on the leak and stuff like that for this design, I think all things considered, it looks really cool. It looks similar to Manda in a way, so I'm really curious to see if maybe they would merge the two creatures. And the only reason I say that is because even though the creature is based in Loch Ness, Scotland, based on the Monarch Outpost, the creature could travel all around the world as long as it uses the Hollow Earth tunnels. And actually the novelization for Godzilla King of the Monsters specifically says, after the call was made by Ghidorah, the Leviathan breaks free of its outpost and travels through the Hollow Earth to the Indian Ocean, coincidentally where the Kraken was located, where it begins to hunt for other titans. And when the Orca calls the other titans to Boston, the Leviathan tries going but can't arrive there due to the fact that presumably can't go on land, just like the Kraken wasn't able to make it for similar reasons because they're aquatic-based creatures. But all things considered, I think that having a Loch Ness Monster type creature, a Manda-like creature, even if it does have a similar kind of design to the Loch Ness Monster from Godzilla in 1998, I think all those things all together would be pretty cool to actually see if we can get more kind of artwork maybe for certain concept arts. Because if the leak was correct, and it kind of sounds like the leak was more correct than not, it does look like they did put some time into really thinking about what the design of the creature would be, considering the person that was leaking this stuff out had designs in mind for what they actually look like. But comment below your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this? Do you think it's cool that we have a titan even though it's called a Leviathan? basically the Loch Ness Monster. Do you think that's cool? And what other famous creatures, whether it's Bigfoot, the Yeti, any other kind of famous monster, what would you like to see introduced in the Monsterverse, whether based upon the names of and locations of titans we've already seen and heard about, or totally new ones that could be introduced in King Kong versus Godzilla or Godzilla versus Kong, whatever name you go with. But comment below your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think? And we'll see you guys later.